All right, it is 2025. 2025. And Pro Tools still does not have certain features that pretty much every other program has. Y'all don't see a problem with that? Bolo! Now, quick story time before I go into what I'm really talking about. Now, I've been using Studio One a lot, and I've been using Logic a lot. And, when you use programs, you kind of, get kind of crossed up with some of the quick keys and stuff like that when you're bouncing back and forth the programs. But pretty much between Studio One and Logic, I don't have those issues because, I'm originally like a Logic person, and in Studio One, they have the Logic quick keys already in there. So pretty much if I need to maneuver around in Studio One, I'd use it just like Logic. However, the other day, I was recording and I had to go to my guy's studio, and of course he has Pro Tools. And yes, I've had Pro Tools for years, still got Pro Tools right now. But the thing about it is, when you work in one program for so long, which is Studio One, which I'm talking about, and then you switch over to another program, you kind of have issues because sometimes when you switch over to other programs, they don't have the same quick keys and the same functions as other programs. And that's what I ran into when I was recording the other day. I was recording in Pro Tools, and one of the things that I tried to do is I tried to group together 3 tracks, and all I wanted to do was turn down those 3 tracks at the same time. Could not do it. I had to literally go into Pro Tools, select the 3 tracks, make a group out of those 3 tracks, and then turn them down that way. And then if I want to go back in and actually turn up one of those tracks that is in the group, I had to literally go back to the group function, turn that off, and then I was able to turn up the individual tracks again in that group. That's an issue. That's something right now that should not be in Pro Tools right now. It shouldn't be. And I don't understand why that has not been updated yet in Pro Tools. Why can we not simply just select the 3 tracks that we have and then be able to just turn them down at one time, just like in Ableton, just like in Studio One, just like in Logic, and just like in pretty much every other program that's out right now. But hey, this is Pro Tools, right? Now let's get to the meat of this conversation. I was watching a YouTuber the other day by the name of Matty Harris, and he had a video comparing Studio One to Pro Tools and how he was basically saying Studio One might be better than Pro Tools. But what I'm going to say is right now is Studio One is better than Pro Tools because it has more Pro Tools than Pro Tools. And I think a lot of you guys right now are trying to fight the issues right here. And the issues that I have with Pro Tools is if you're going to say that you're an industry standard, if you set the bar for the industry, set the bar. And right now with the first example that I was telling you guys about, that's not setting the bar right there. That's below the bar right now. And what I think a lot of you guys who are defending Pro Tools and saying, oh, well, they're going to come with more updates and Pro Tools is going to stay up on it. We already know that's not going to happen. Like, why are we saying that we are the industry standard when you're just saying that? And that's why I made that video, because if you claim that you're an industry standard, you have to have industry standard tools. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Pro Tools has a lot of good stuff inside of it. However, it's a lot of things that they are lacking on. Now, in respect of Matty Harris's video, he actually brought up a lot of great points, and I would kind of play them on my video, but I would rather you guys go to his page and watch his video on what he is talking about. Now, it's not a whole bunch of things because Pro Tools is not a terrible program. It just has some things that you would think it would be inside of the program by now. Like something as simple as like a global transpose. That's not in Pro Tools. It's in Studio One. Right now, if I go to Studio One and I highlight the tracks that I want on a global transpose, I can literally, with one click, I can transpose the whole session. Audio, MIDI, everything. All my samples, everything could be set to a global transpose. So if I feel like the track is not in a key that I do not like, I can just pull that global transpose down and I'm done. And the good thing about it is, if I don't like it, then I can just go ahead and turn it back up and there's no problem. Global transpose, Studio One. Can't do it on Pro Tools. That's the industry standard though. Now, this is another thing that a lot of you guys gave me some pushback on my first video because I didn't explain it correctly because I was ranting and I did not explain it correctly. However, when you guys want to assign certain tracks to a bus, yes, you can select certain tracks and send those to a bus. However, you have to create the bus first, then you have to give the bus a insert number or numbers, depending if it's mono or stereo. And then from there, you can go to the individual tracks and then select those tracks, and then you can give those tracks that same bus number, or if you want to rename the bus, you can give it that bus name or bus number, either way. And then you can send those over to a bus, okay? You can do that. However, let's take away Studio One right now. Let's just look at Logic. Logic, I can select those buses, and then there's two things I can do. Inside of those buses, I can either take those buses and then I can just right click on those buses and send those buses to a open bus. And then as soon as I send it, it will automatically create the bus for me. Now, in Pro Tools, they have it to where you can put your tracks in folders now, which is pretty much the same thing they have as track stacks inside of Logic, which cool, you can do that. However, if I wanted to assign sends, I can easily go in, select the send that I want to use, click on it, and it will automatically create another bus or aux track for me for my sends. I can do it the same way inside of Studio One. If I want to go ahead and create a send in Studio One, guess what I can do? I can simply take my plugin, drag it and drop it into the send location of the track, and it will automatically create a send for me. And I don't even have to even right click or do anything else. I can just take that plugin and drop it to a send channel on that track, and it creates a send for me. That's crazy. And in Studio One, if I want to go ahead and create a bus track, all I simply have to do is select the tracks that I want, go in there and create either a bus, a VCA, a aux, and it'll automatically create that track for me. I don't have to create the bus first, give it an insert number, and then go back to the other tracks and then insert the insert number onto those tracks. I don't have to do that. They make it easy. To me, that's Pro Tools. Better than the tools that they have in Pro Tools. Man, they got me sweating over here. Ugh. And then we got to look at other things just like even pitch shifting. Why is it so hard to just pitch shift inside of Pro Tools? If I want to swing in a sample and it might not be on the same pitch as the stuff that's in my song, why can I not just go in there and just pitch it very simply? It should not be so hard to where we have to go into our audio suite or audio tools and then have to go to the pitch shifter and then have to pitch it like that. When in just about every other program, all you have to do is just right click it and then just pitch it. Like in Studio One, all I have to simply do is right click and then bam, they have a menu right there where I can go ahead and just pitch up the sample up and down. In Pro Tools, you have to go to the audio suite, and then from the audio suite, you got to select the pitch, but then when you put the pitch in the audio, it's locked in. Or am I tripping? I'm not even sure if you can even reverse the process after you lock in the pitch shift. Now, it's been a while since I used that feature in Pro Tools, so if there is another way of doing it, please let me know in the comment section. But from last time when I used it, you had to go in, use the audio suite, and then pitch shift it that way, or you had to use a third-party tool to pitch shift your audio inside of Pro Tools. Y'all let me know if there's a better way. But I do know in Studio One, we can just go in, pitch shift it. If it ain't right, we can pitch it up or down, and then we can still lock it into the global transpose on there once we have everything pitch shifted. And then we're not even gonna get into like the whole MIDI and making beats and all that stuff like that. I'm not even gonna get into that because that's a whole nother video for that. And yeah, we're not gonna get into that. And then even simple stuff like time stretching. Now, I know Pro Tools does have a time stretch. You can go up into the little transport area and you can select the little time stretch thing, and then you can time stretch your audio that way. But why would we need to do that when, like in other programs, like in Logic and in Studio One, we can just go directly to our audio and then we can just hold Option and then we can just time stretch our audio just like that. There's no clicking into another menu or anything else. We can just do it right there on the audio. But it's the industry standard. Now, it's more things. Don't get me wrong. It's more things that I can discuss, but that's just the simple things. Now, if you can't even get the simple things in 2025, that's crazy. There's programs that have these features that were nowhere near what Pro Tools was 20 years ago. But there's newer programs right now that have these features already in it, and Pro Tools has been around for God knows how long. And now I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, they got some updates. They plan to do some more updates and everything, and they're going to get it right, which I hope they get it right. I really do. Because to me, it seems like they're nickel and diming the users a little bit and saying things to get you mentally thinking, oh yeah, it is the industry standard. It is. Yeah, I get it. It's in every studio. I know that. But for you to say you're the industry standard, you have to have industry standard tools. That's why I'm making this video. People over at Pro Tools have reached out, which I will have conversations with them. And I wanted to make this video because I believe videos like this are healthy in the conversation, because I really want Pro Tools to win here. I really do. I've been using it. I know I have to go to other studios and use it. Like, Pro Tools is that one thing that you own that you know is obsolete, but you keep it because you have a sentimental value. But there's other things out here that are easier to use and they're better. And then when you finally get the new thing, it's like, man, I should have got this a long time ago. That's what Pro Tools is right now. And I know a lot of you guys have a sentimental value for Pro Tools right now. And to be honest with you, I do too. But then when I started using other programs and seeing how the other programs have the same things plus more, I had to rethink things. And right now I am rethinking the whole logic behind Pro Tools being an industry standard. Now, if I'm saying something wrong, please go inside of the comment section and correct me, okay? I have no problem with being corrected. However, if you do come in the comment section and you say something that is incorrect, I'm going to correct you so everybody can see it. For everybody who may want to come on here and for people who may want to say certain things or try to be trolls in the situation, just believe I'm going to come on here and I'm going to correct you. And I know for a fact there's going to be people who use other programs that's going to come on here and correct you as well. Now, if there is any other features that makes Pro Tools so much better, I'm not talking about the name, I'm not talking about the industry standard title. I'm talking about features that makes Pro Tools better than any other program. Please list that in the comment section so me and folks over at Avid can see what you guys are talking about. Because as of right now, if you take a program like Studio One can do everything that Pro Tools does. However, Pro Tools cannot do everything that Studio One does. That ain't industry standard to me.